solidarity is quite dangerous. From the point of view of the masters, you're only supposed to care about yourself, not about other people. This is quite different from the people they claim are their heroes, like Adam Smith, who based his whole approach to the economy on the principle that sympathy is a fundamental human trait. But that has to be driven out of people's heads. You got to be for yourself, follow the Weil maxim, don't care about others, which is okay for the rich and powerful, but is devastating for everyone else. Well, it's taken a lot of effort to try to drive these basic human emotions out of people's heads. And we see it today in policy formation. For example, in the attack on Social Security. Social Security is based on a principle. It's based on a principle of solidarity. Solidarity, caring for others. Social Security means I pay payroll taxes so that the widow across town can get something to live on. For much of the population, that's what they survive on. It's of no use to the very rich, so therefore there's a concerted attempt to destroy it. One of the ways is defunding it. You want to destroy some system, first defund it. Then it won't work, people will be angry, they want something else. That's a standard technique for privatizing some system. We see it in the attack on public schools. Public schools are based on the principle of solidarity. I no longer have children in school, they're grown up. But the principle of solidarity says, I happily pay taxes so that the kid across the street can go to school. That's normal human emotion. You have to drive that out of people's heads. I don't have kids in school, why should I pay taxes? Privatize it, so on. The public education system, all the way from kindergarten to higher education, is under severe attack. I mean, that's one of the jewels of American society. You go back to the golden age again, the great growth period in the 50s and 60s. A lot of that is based on free public education. One of the results of the Second World War was the GI Bill of Rights, which enabled veterans, and remember that's a large part of the population, and to go to college. They wouldn't have been able to otherwise. They essentially got free education.
Where a community, state, or nation courageously invests a substantial share of its resources in education, the investment invariably is returned in better business and a higher standard of living.
The U.S. was way in the lead in developing extensive mass public education at every level. By now, more than half the states, most of the funding for the colleges comes from tuition, not from the state. That's a radical change, and that's a terrible burden on students. It means that students, if they don't come from very wealthy families, they're going to leave college with big debts. And if you have a big debt, you're trapped. I mean, maybe you wanted to become a public interest lawyer, but you're going to have to go into a corporate law firm to pay off those debts. And by the time you're part of the culture, you're not going to get out of it again. And that's true across the board. In the 1950s, it was a much poorer society than it is today, but nevertheless could easily handle essentially free mass higher education. Today, a much richer society claims doesn't have the resources for it. That's just what's going on right before our eyes. That's the general attack on principles that, not only are they humane, they're the basis of the prosperity and health of this society.